Dielectric magnetism is God, and that's why people don't like Terrence Howard's discussion of his new proposal on Joe Rogan's podcast presenting what he calls the TERRYEN Wave Field Conjugations. Technically, what Terrence Howard is saying isn't really new, because he's been presenting this type of information on multiple big-name platforms and universities, like on The View, MIT, and Oxford. This idea has finally come to the surface, and it has sparked significant controversy. Many critics and YouTubers are opposing his ideas for a certain reason. You see, at the core of this debate in Terrence Howard's reference to the concept of the ether, which he believes to be very crucial in understanding where we live. That's why he's presenting it. That indeed, in fact, there does exist an ethereal field of free energy, a morphogenetic field that anybody has access to. So right off rips, that's why people are trying to debunk Terrence Howard, because he's trying to promote the ether that is a part of an ideology that contradicts the current model that we live in. Now, people find the potential implications of his theory to be problematic and straight up stupid. Okay, but in my opinion, this implies that we should look into this a little bit further, because I don't think he's controlled opposition when he is proposing profound universal interconnectedness. Terrence Howard has literally come up with a patented working model of the ether. The flower of life. This ancient symbol that's composed of the interlocking circular spheres is thought to represent the unity of existence, consciousness, and the cosmos all together. This symbol's most compelling representation, according to Howard, is the one that can be found in the ancient spherical mural pictograph that is located under the Fu Dogs in the Forbidden City in China, also known as the Chinese guardian lions in Beijing, China. The Fu Dogs are prominent statues, and there's multiples of them scattered throughout the Forbidden City in Beijing. Now, the underlying fear that Terrence Howard's critics has against him appears to be the disruptive potential of his ideas going against the grain of materialistic Newtonian science. They don't want what's already established to be disrupted, because if accepted, it could challenge the conventional scientific paradigm and open new avenues of understanding energy and existence, and possibly have to rewrite the history books. Now, regardless, the controversy surrounding Terrence Howard's proposal is not merely about the scientific validity of his claims, but it's also about the broader implication of our understanding of the universe. This is exactly why Walter Russell's book was called A New Concept of the Universe, because it's representing the electromagnetic torus field as the firmament dome around us as the model that we live in. So when we look at the flower of life in this 2D depiction, it's actually a lower dimensional slice of the higher hidden encompassing fractal complexity of the soul system and the layers within it. So in Terrence Howard's work, you have the circles, and then you have the in-between spaces, which are called the negative spaces, where the bubbles don't touch and they do not intersect. This is what Terrence is advocating. He claims that the interstitial negative spaces, which he identifies as dark matter, is a critical element that warrants significant attention, and we need to pay attention to this. He asserts that this negative space should be prioritized in a scientific analysis. Furthermore, Howard advocates for a holistic approach, integrating this concept with already established knowledge. He draws on the analogy to the human body, suggesting that every component is essential for the proper functioning of the whole system, thereby emphasizing the necessity of considering the entirety of this phenomenological activity and considering the negative spaces in the flower of life. Terrence Howard discusses the significance of the empty spaces between the circles and the flower of life symbol. He argues that our analysis of the symbol has been incomplete, because these interstitial spaces have not been fully accounted for. Now, in a recent interview, Terrence Howard elaborates on perceived flaws in the current gravitational model of the universe, and he advocates for an alternative model based on electromagnetism and the concept of the ether. Terrence Howard puts forward that the circular spheres within the symbol represent the physical matter, while the negative spaces between them symbolizes antimatter, the invisible fifth element, often referred to as the ether. This concept of the ether was widely accepted and written about in scientific books just until the early 20th century, when changes in the public education system led to the dismissal of the ether from mainstream scientific discourse. Terrence Howard continues to explain that the dark matter corresponds to this invisible black light material, which is not detectable by the human naked eye. And so therefore, by revisiting and advocating the work of Walter Russell for the inclusion of the ether, Terrence Howard aims to challenge conventional scientific paradigms and to inspire you and young minds to explore these ideas. He is actively working on creating a patented representation of the ether and the ethereal field, thereby attempting to revolutionize and to amplify and to extend our understanding of the universe. So he's taken these patented in-between negative dark matter spaces in an amplified geometric format, and he has applied magnetism and cymatic frequencies, proposing to be able to recreate planetary bodies through an electromagnetic format. And this work is based off of Walter Russell, Nikola Tesla, which the elite rulers do not want to promote, which is why they are suppressing him. This principle aligns with the golden ratio and the fractal nature of our universe. Terrence Howard proposes that by taking these negative spaces and reconnecting them, you can apply cymatic frequency, magnetism, combined with sound and acoustical tones, and this process, as he argues, will recreate the solid space as a cymatic electromagnetic representation. In this model, the behavior of a planet could be visually mimicked with a particle simulator, as he talks about in the Joe Rogan interview. In an electromagnetic universe, according to Terrence Howard and Walter Russell, planets are not physical entities, but rather they are holographic, translucent, luminary bodies. This conceptualization challenges traditional views of planetary physics, suggesting that the nature of the celestial bodies is fundamentally electromagnetic and non-physical. It's essential to understand that electricity is inherently dependent on magnetism. So, consequently, this phenomena such as light and lightning that we see and thunder, they're all interconnected. Light can be considered sound made visible. So in essence, sound and light are fundamental aspects of the universe. The term mag in Sanskrit means to move, and it's the root word of magi and magnetism. Magnetism is the magical force that represents a trinity, the Father dielectric light, which splits into its feminine counterpart, the Virgin Mother Spirit, and together they create the Son of God. This trinity can be understood through the interplay of black light, which is dielectricity, and white light, which is magnetism. And together they form the black and white, yin and yang, symbolizing rest and motion, movement and stillness. The black light represents rest, while the white light symbolizes dynamic activity. Therefore, the interaction between these forces encapsulates the fundamental duality and unity inherent in the universe. Magnetism and electricity are inseparably linked, forming the basis of all natural phenomena because those two things are symbiotically synergistic. Motion and light play huge roles in the universe. When white light and motion converge in the ether, they give rise to what can be potentially termed as the Son of God. And this process encompasses the blue shift and red shift, which is the fundamental aspect of our reality. Einstein's theory of relativity dismissed the ether with the Newtonian Big Bang, propelling us into a particle universe. But this concept lacks the reverberative cycle of a return to a central point of balance. We must question, where is the equilibrium in an ever-expanding Big Bang universe that never returns to a central zenith? It seems to defy the natural principles of balance and recycling, raising the question about the nature of existence, motion, energy, and the structure of our cosmology.